right, let's go to this conversation now and look at the two-part retirement system expected to be implemented from the 1st of September this year. It divides the retirement savings into two distinct components. That's the savings as well as the retirement pot. But there are still some questions. So let's speak to Dr Cecile Duvenhage, who is with the University of the Free State's Economics and Finance Department, and as well as the editor and the co-author of Personal Finance, who's joining us for this chat further. Thank you so much for your time this evening. A lot of people are talking about this. They're waiting for it to deal with what they're calling financial pressures. But is this lifeline really a quick fix?
No, it's definitely not a quick fix. There will be tax implication and administrative costs associated with early withdrawals from the pot. So like for any other amount in cash, you will be taxed according to your marginal income tax rate, and that will depend on your income for the year. So that will be deducted before you will get your benefit. And each time you withdraw, the amount available will also be reduced. Keep in mind that you can be pushed into a higher tax bracket, known as bracket creeping, due to the extra income. And then there's also hidden costs in the form of penalties as stipulated by the members' fund. The Institute of Retirement Fund South Africa has indicated an admin fee between 300 and 600 on each withdrawal.
Now, this particular, admin fee, let's talk about the impact and the implication it has, because a number of people are not aware or even talking about it.
Yeah, for sure. That's why it's no quick fix. Apart from the money that you need to pay, there's also the tax-free benefit at retirement that will be affected by that. Keep in mind that you can get about 550,000 of your lump sum in cash, tax-free on retirement. But once you start withdrawing from these savings pot, you will start to limit these availability in terms of cash in your lump sum. And of course, the loss in tax-free growth, your interest income, your dividends and capital gains, that is some of the opportunity costs in taking the money.
And also at the same time, the implications then of being moved up on the tax bracket.
Yeah, surely. That is the so-called bracket creeping that we refer to as economists.
And when it comes into someone being moved up, because now there's this additional income, let's explain to someone at home who says that if I'm moved up, then what does it mean for me?
Well, let me explain it this way. If you take R1 at the age of 35, you've foregone a possible R30 at 30 years later. So in terms of taking the money, you really have to think twice, because it's going to cost you quite a lot of money to bail you out. So there's nothing like a quick fix.
So does it make a difference if someone argues and says, it's okay if, I take it now because I'm still working, I'm still making my contributions, and I can then be able to continue to pour money into my retirement. So if I take now, the implications may not be as severe?
No, for sure not. The implications will be severe. Apart from the direct cost, it's the foregone money that you could have earned on the money if it stayed in the pot. So yes, of course, only 1/3 of the pot you will have access to that. And keep in mind, there's a lot of citizens who does not have 2,000 Rand in their pot to withdraw.
So there are some who are worried that maybe if, there could be different tax implications if they access before they turn 55. Are there any differences there?
Yes, for sure. It depends on your individual tax bracket. So if you're already at 45%, you might end up only getting half of the money that you withdraw, because the rest have to go to the taxpayer. In fact, they indicate that the South African Receiver of Revenue anticipated 5 billion revenue windfall from taxing the two-pot retirement system in the next financial year.
And I suppose then if someone also owes SARS, that also plays a role.
Yeah, for sure. SARS would be first in line to get their money.
It doesn't sound like it's a lot of people are probably just now making their own calculations as they sit at home and wondering if this is still a good idea. But let's, talk about something that you've raised in that opinion piece that you've written. You say that people need to be careful and ensure that the two pots don't spoil the broth. Expand for us.
Yes, sure. It's a saying that too many cooks spoil the broth, and now two pots might spoil the broth in that sense. Just meaning that make sure that you have enough in terms of adequacy in the long run for reasonable living standard later on. Keep in mind that our population are aging and economic conditions are changing. So the integrity of this whole system needs to stay put, and we need to foster trust and participation in pension funds in South Africa.
So someone at home is saying, right, I'm under probably financial pressure, given the fact that right now there's an increase. You're looking at the price of electricity, you're looking at as much as, food prices are going down somewhat, but they're now taking that extra money to be able to just try and, make a living or even be able to get by. So what do they do then in order to be able to make sure that they stay afloat? Because this does look, it does look like, something that could potentially hurt you in the long run.
Yeah, I would say that the poorest of the poor will not benefit from the system. In South Africa, the last quarter of last year, we actually seen a negative savings rate. In other words, people did save 1.1% of their income. So already we have excess debt in South Africa, burden on individuals. But a quick fix will not be to take the money. You will solve short-term problems, but you will creating long-term ones in that sense. So to contribute to a fund and to create jobs where people can contribute to a fund with more reasonable solution for me to the problem of excessive debt in South Africa.
So what happens then to someone who has been contributing? They do have their pension money, that is currently sitting, they're waiting for retirement, they're not employed at the moment, and they simply aren't able to access those funds. What do they do then? Can they be able to have access to them?
Yes, they all will have access to that. It's one, but it's only 1/3.
Okay.
Of the pension. The others will need to stay put in in the pot, so the savings pot, the members will have access to.
What about
not to the remainder part?
Pardon me for coming in there. What about legal proceedings? If someone is probably going through a divorce, what happens?
Yeah, sure. For then, the retirement fund administrators must be notified of the divorce proceedings, and then no payments will be made from the saving pot during the legal process.
All right. Thank you so much for giving us further information there. I hope it has helped the viewers to be able to understand this system better, because there have been a lot of questions as we are now looking forward to the 1st of April to see what happens and how many people actually take this up. Thank you so much, Doctor, for your time. That was Dr. Cecile Duvenhage, who's with the University of the Free State's Economics and Finance Department, and she's also the editor and co-author of Personal Finance.